Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to House of Enneagram. I'm Kristen. We have Alexandra and David as well. We're all.
I'd like to announce that Alexandra is getting over a cold, and so
yes.
So there's a because she wouldn't necessarily want to say it.
No, I was going to try to hide it actually.
Yeah, right.
But cool, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no problem.
I guess everyone can hear it in my voice anyway. I am getting over a cold.
And the nose is red, and
Thank you, David. Yes, my dignity stripped from me at once.
Dignity, yeah.
And we all can tell that David's not actually in a purple room. So in case anyone was wondering, that's not happening right now.
Yeah, this is just his predictable behavior. This is just
predictable.
What he does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Every time.
And today we're talking about the hit blockbuster,
The White Lotus.
No.
The Black Swan?
We're talking about
how the White Lotus evolves into the Black Swan.
Close enough.
All right, let's mute his microphone. He's not allowed to talk anymore. Yeah, we're talking about the Black Swan today. This is what Darren Aronofsky is the director. Yeah. This movie came out in 2010. And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of stood the test of time. I've personally seen it like a billion times. I know you guys have seen it a number of times as well. And we've talked about it at length in different conversations. And so, yeah, I kind of just wanted to have a conversation exploring that movie through the lens of the Enneagram, through the lens of type, through the lens of instinct. Kristen, I'm sure you know, probably little to nothing at all about Jung's shadow projections and how this could be applied. So
I know nothing, but I'll give it a try.
If you could really give it your best shot.
A fledgling run at it. Yeah.
It's not like I watched it a couple of days ago and took extensive notes.
Oh, man. See? Man. Help support this.
What a nerd.
Yeah. I even underlined things that I thought were extra important.
Amazing. Oh, yeah. Amazing.
You realize, well, no, I shouldn't say that on air. I'm going to find chores for you to do based on all this.
Chores for us to do?
No, for Kristen to do.
Okay,
because she likes all this like busy shit.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I do like the busy shit. Yeah.
Weird, so different there.
Yep.
David said homework, and I was immediately like, "Not me."
Oh yeah, no. I knew that.
Okay, good. Okay, great. Okay, so maybe we should talk about we could do like a brief plot of the movie, and then we can go into all the good, juicy stuff.
Yeah, I also want to mention too. I really like Darren Aronofsky. I've actually looked at a few times interview wise and total social self-pres. So I think that's why. Like, I mean, all of his movies are like just
that feels
sometimes
right.
a little
just
too
even
social because
interesting.
Can,
okay,
ruin some of the art of it. But like in general, like he's very very social self-pres. Right. So I think that's why the commentary is so clear in this one.
Part of what's
that would make sense,
interesting about that is just at the same time as being social self-pres, sort of that, I mean, it's going to be one of our themes here, but like just how intuitively correct he was in kind of how what we're calling the sexual instinct, how he sort of portrayed it. Yeah, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Black Swan, like we said, this came out in 2010, and it is the story of Nina Sayers. She's a ballerina who works for the New York Ballet theater, New York dance place. And she's a danceologist, that's right. And she is going to be she's auditioning for Swan Lake. That's the show that they're going to do for this season. And then there's like a little twist on how people are going to be cast this year, because normally the White Swan in the show and the Black Swan are played by two separate dancers, and in this time whoever is cast as the Swan Queen is going to have to embody both the White Swan and the Black Swan. Now, even to go back a little bit further, the story of Swan Lake is just really archetypally rich already, because it's the story of this like ingenue kind of like bride, princess, maiden, just like innocent and fearful and inexperienced and naive you know, the white swan, very 911 archetype. She has a curse put on her. She's turned into a swan, and the only thing that can break the spell is it's true love's kiss. How sweet. And so she finds her prince, and she's like, you know, waiting to be kissed by him, and for her, whatever.
We caught you, right?
And then and then the black swan, right? And so she's the opposite archetype. She's experienced, and she's sexually embodied, and she's bold, and she's confident, and she's, you know, like imperfect and, you know, evil as far as like the archetype, right? There's like a Madonna horror Freudian thing already there. The black swan seduces the prince, which means that the white swan doesn't get her true love's kiss. And so at the end of Swan Lake, she throws herself off of a cliff. Very tragic, very sad. So now we're back to the movie. This is the ballet that Nina Sayers is going to be performing in. And I guess we could just leave it there. She's auditioning. She wants to be the Swan Queen, and she's going to go through this whole... Well, I guess we can give away. She does get the role of Swan Queen. And so her entire story within the movie is learning how to embody the black swan. She's the perfect archetype of the white swan. So she's naive, she's inexperienced, she's technically and precisely perfect. But she doesn't have this sort of like sexual abandon that she needs to have in order to embody the black swan. And so throughout the movie, this is just her journey towards that goal. And
the guy that plays the ballet director,
love him.
Yeah, he's great. I think he's sexual hot. In real life, a sexual one, I think.
Whoa.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good with some of the lines he says in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he says something like perfection is not just about, like, perfection is about abandon. He says something super sexy, like says something like that. Like perfection is about release or about like losing yourself. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's loss of self.
I don't want any glorifying of the sexual instinct in this.
Okay, all right.
Oh, don't
worry. I'm glorifying that
here. I'm about to shit on it. I'll tell
Good, please.
All of my extensive notes.
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's right. You're the tattletale.
Oh, I'll say at the top here too that I think so shadow projection is just fucking littered throughout the movie, right? Nina she has sexual shadow projections onto Lily, who happens to embody the black swan kind of archetype in the movie. She has
played by a 7 and has 7-ish energy. Yeah. So that's also another counter besides whatever instinct thing is going on. There's just that just whatever thing of 7.
Assertiveness versus withdrawn.
And that like general liberation kind of quality.
Yeah, just freedom and just freedom. Yeah.
She has projections onto the dance instructor, who's that sexy one we're talking about. She has projections onto her mom. Her mom has projections onto her. She has projections onto the prima ballerina, who she ends up replacing. So there's a lot to dissect here.
And she's going to be a Bermuda too.
For sure.
Yeah.
911, obviously. Sexual blind, obviously. I obviously related to her a lot when I first saw the movie. It's like, and when I first saw it, I thought this was a movie about just perfection, about the pursuit of perfection, and how it's like, you need to, there is this like wild thing that needs to be integrated in order to achieve perfection, and perfection is a transient experience. It can't be attained, right? It's fleeting. But now, as the years have gone by and I've had new frameworks to look at it with, it's so much richer than that.
That does hit on something about the sexual instinct, though, that like, say, artistically, you can hit on something in a moment, but it's gone, after. You got to capture it, and then it's gone. It's hyper mercurial. So like, it's not sustained. It's not ever sustained perfection, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. And that, I mean, we can already even talk about that in terms of a sexual blind stacking. Nina is probably self-pres social, just being an athlete, dancer, whatever. That the false like belief of the sexual blind stacking is that perfection can be something that is like contained and maintained, right? That's
there you
like,
go. That's good.
That's the purpose of not having like the activated sexual instinct specifically in that stacking. And so, yeah, there's I mean, we could even jump to the end where she like, do we want to jump to the end where she dies, you know? She jumps off of the cliff in the show, and she finds out everybody else finds out that she's been wounded, and she has that moment where she's like closing her eyes. I felt it. It was perfect. I was perfect. And it's done. That's her one experience with it.
That was the orgasm.
That was the orgasm. That's right. Yep.
I was going to say too, like, I see a lot how, like, I mean, perfection is so, like, it causes self-injury and neuroses and stuff.
Yeah.
And that, like, the sexual instinct, and just the shadow qualities of perfection actually allow you to be more human and realize, like, it isn't about perfection, because like, you can't have perfection in like your wild nature, like, because it's actually imperfect. And what's happening, and that's like what is attractive about it, is that things are imperfect and messy and gross and whatever. And she, like, the whole movie is just like not allowing herself to be in that wild nature, which is why she can't easily access the Black Swan right away. And I mean, I have a whole commentary about her mother thing.
Oh my god, me too.
Oh yeah, no, there's so much there. Yeah.
There's so much there.
Yeah, like a big part of it for sure. You know, like that's a big that whole dynamic. I like when I first watched it, I didn't really think much about the mothers, that like I knew it was there and I knew there was a part of it, but like I wasn't as caught onto it as much. And watching it again, I'm like, oh my god, this is like actually disturbing.
Yeah.
Because I watched it like when I was kind of younger, so it like wasn't, you know, on my mind at all about what was being said and what was being illustrated in it. But like rewatching it, I was like, oh my god, like she's even her room and the way she talks is like kind of like a baby sort of voice. Yes, totally. Exactly. Yes. And I'm like, oh my god.
Her mom, totally. Her mom has her, and I don't, what we could type her, I don't care, but what her mom has her womanhood and her sexuality just held hostage.
That's what I was going to say.
Like kept in infancy.
It's that thing of a parent psychosexually owning the child or wanting to. Yeah.
And it's the whole, like in Jung's frameworks, they talk about parents projecting the unlived life onto the child.
Yes.
And that is like, because she often talks about, you know, when she was a dancer and she's trying to like, you know, carve the right sort of path for her daughter instead of what happened to her because she chose her. Like, it's that common.
Totally. I gave up my career to have you.
Yes. And now I'm forcing you to have the career that I wanted, like that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, so good. Yeah, there was more around her mom. Oh, I guess like for tangible examples within that, there are so many examples within the movie where, there's that like baby talk. They only speak to each other in this kind of baby voice. Anytime it's adulthood, and anytime they're speaking in any kind of adult tone, it's when they're in a battle for Nina's autonomy. It's anytime Nina's like acting out, that's when mom comes in and she's like rageful. She's, you know, you absolutely cannot grow up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there's all this subtle kind of sabotaging of her actual individuation also, right? Like she gets the role of the Swan Queen and then gives her this like giant piece of cake. Like being a dancer, having been a dancer yourself, you know that is a sabotaging move.
Exactly.
And so then when Nina is trying to resist by saying, you know, give me a smaller piece of cake that's way too big, mom has this like rage reaction where she's like, fine, I'll fucking throw the whole thing away. And it's only then that Nina gets guilted back into being like, no, it's fine. And the mom, like, oh god, so creepy. The mom like puts the frosting on her finger and like puts it in Nina's mouth, and that's and there's like this forced smile. It's just you have to be.
That's
what
I mean by that. Yeah, that's it's quasi erotic, you know.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I think like in the commentary on perfection, like her whole chase for perfection is wrapped up and trapped in like innocence. Like I kept thinking, you know, like everything, like perfection is an innocent thing in her mind, that it's like, my body is perfect. My routine is perfect. And it allows me to be this innocent, perfect thing, which is like a very 9-wing-1 especially like for a woman, a 9-wing-1 having like that is a big theme in your whole life, is like
For
you're
sure.
constantly like battling what you find innocent and within yourself, within the
Impure.
world. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Impure. Yeah. And so like that kind of dynamic going on, to have like the Black Swan, is to actually admit that like, you know, you were never innocent in the first place. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Right.
like this needs to just shatter. Like, it's not
Yes.
working. It's keeping you suffocated, and it's like you need to be more in touch with like the pain of the body, because like that is not an innocent place, you know, like your
Right.
body's not an innocent place,
And
which
the
is what
beast,
the sexual instinct shows.
the beast of the
Yeah.
body.
Yeah.
Too.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
The beast
Yeah.
of the body. Yeah, Nina's whole relationship with her mom throughout the show. I'm watching too much stuff right now.
You're thinking of White Lotus.
I'm thinking of White Lotus.
We're not talking about White Lotus yet.
Nina's relationship with her mom throughout the movie, got it this time, is also just, it's an individuation battle. She's just trying to get away from her mom the whole time. Of course, there's like this warring at the beginning where she's conflicted within herself. Do I appeal to my mom because I want my mom's love, because, you know, I have to live out her, like, what is it, family, like shadow
Unlived
or whatever
life.
it is,
Yeah.
unlived life, or in her relationship with Lily, in her dynamic with Lily basically just acts as like a seductive agent away from mom.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's all it is. People could watch the show, and Nina has, I'm mixing myself up now, but Nina has a projection on Lily where she thinks that Lily is trying to seduce the director away from Nina in order to get the role. When Lily that's not her role at all. She's seducing you away from your mom so that you can be the Black Swan that you need to be.
Yeah, no, it's interesting too in the context of like if one of the frames is that it's about a rite of passage into some degree of integration with the sexual instinct, and then the mother is, like I said, psychosexually wanting to possess her.
Yeah.
That she's she's wanting to keep her prepubescent, basically.
Yes, for sure. Yes.
Right.
Her room, being pink. There's that one scene where Natalie Portman, who's Nina in the movie for people that haven't seen it, where she's doing the director's like homework, right? She's just trying to touch herself in order to be able to like experience her own body, her own like body aliveness, right? And sexuality. And then turns over and her mom's asleep in her room. So that's another block. It's another, like, I can't be myself because mom is just cock blocking me to myself.
Exactly. Yeah.
So rough. And so, there's all of these like little moments where Nina's trying to fight it back by, she like, how do I say it? There's like several times where the mom is like trying to undress her. She's like, no, I can take this off myself. She starts to file her own nails because her mom has a habit of like clipping her own nails. These kind of like little things. At some point she takes all the stuffed animals from her room and like throws them down the chute. So there's like these little moves away from mom. Nina does. Right. Mm-hmm. These little moves away from mom before that big scene that she has with Lily where she, tells her mom to go fuck off.
It's quite a like fairy tale kind of thing. It's
like
it
the
really evil
is.
Stepmother kind of thing. Like they used to in fairy tales make it always the stepmother because apparently our original moms could never be that evil or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Well, it's also reminding me, speaking of that, fairy tales, of that book Iron John, which is like came out in the early 90s, and it's like a using a Grimm Brothers fairy tale to describe rite of passage for boys becoming men. And one of the things in there, it's hard, might not have the full impact because I'd have to give the context, but one of the things that the boy has to do is, there's a wild man. It's kind of like a Lily character in a way, in a cage. And in order for the boy to release the wild man, which would represent integrating some kind of spontaneous, thing, element in himself and incorporating that into his adult man self. One of the things he has to do is steal the key to the cage from his mother's underneath his mother's pillow. And the point is, you got to do something that, you know, is in some sense wrong, or you can't
your mom.
like you know that she can't ask Nina can't ask her mother for the key, right? She's got to steal it. So like throwing the stuffed animals, you know, you've got to do something aggressive. It's basically a betrayal, but you know, it's a conscious betrayal.
It's a conscious betrayal. Yeah, it's individuating.
Yeah.
Right, and that's why I was even thinking anger as an individuation.
Sure.
You know, process is when you get angry, because then you start to understand who you are and where your boundaries are and where you want to go, where that energy wants to go.
Yeah.
I'm struck by how parallel that scene would be then, because there's a literal scene of that. It's not a key, it's a doorknob in the movie instead.
Oh, interesting.
Right?
I'm
because there's a scene. Yeah, there's a scene where Nina, right? This is the scene where Nina, she like shuts her mom out. She like breaks her mom's hand kind of, or something like that. She shuts her mom out. She passes out. This is when she, you know, has that moment where her eyes go red and she's like pulling feathers out of her back, and she like her legs go back. So right, the transformation has begun. The integration process, shadow integration has begun. And when she wakes up the next morning, her mom has covered her alarm clock. Her mom has taken the doorknob off of the door, and she's put socks over her hands, right? Kind of like a mom does to the babies to keep them from scratching.
Yeah.
Literally babying her. And anyway, Nina wakes up. This is like her first day on the stage as the Swan Queen. She realizes her mom's trying to sabotage this again. She realizes the doorknob's not on the door, and realizes that it's underneath the couch cushion that her mom is sitting on, and she like grabs her mom's broken hand and squeezes it, hurting her in order to grab the doorknob and like escape. So like perfect overlap between the story you just said.
Yeah.
It's been a few years since I've seen it, Black Swan, a few times, but it's been a few years. I need to watch again to remember the details.
That was your homework.
I know. I was just going to make the same comment. It's like you just told on yourself.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, I don't have a problem with that.
He's just conjuring up his old genius. That's what's happening here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, and that's why, like, you know, a lot of it, quite obviously, like, Marion Woodman's book, another Jungian, wrote Addiction to Perfection, and it's all about like the feminine journey of basically that. I mean, I want to ask too, I'll say my bit, but then I want to know what everyone's opinion was on the sexy one. But like for me, like for me and the whole thing, like knowing this is just one way to look at it with Marion's book in mind, but like her whole like literal addiction to perfection in the movie, Nina's like neuroses on that, and her kind of living her mother's life and not really her own. Like I see it as like, you know, chasing that kind of quote unquote like patriarchal ideal that perfection is not in our nature at all. Like it is I mean, especially externally, like maybe there's a mental or spiritual concept of perfection to like, I don't know, relate to in some kind of way, but to achieve perfection externally would be some kind of ideal that isn't exactly in line with our nature. So like definitely, you know, I think that's where the sexual shadow comes in, to even know that your body is not perfect and it will be destroyed and rotten and, you know, like cut and broken and stuff like that. Like that happens, and you can see how like neurotic she gets throughout the movie when her fingernails are like falling off and shit and like, you know, all this stuff. Yeah.
That, and you can see the example of that in Beth, who is the prima ballerina beforehand.
Yes. Oh yeah.
A perfect embodiment. There's even a line where she's like, she's magnetic to watch because she's so goddamn destructive. And then what, she ends up like walking in front of a car or something and like literally destroys her body.
Anyway, right. And that's so thank you. So like one of the things, I won't go like super into it, but I mean, one of the things that Marion will talk about in that book as well is the demon lover. And it is like when, you know, I'm going to make it super basic because it's just like too rich to like get into, but like basically like when you are reacting, like say you have like your negative mother issues going on and you react to that, and so you're gonna go to someone who makes like you feel the polar opposite to your mother, right? Like, so you're gonna chase something that is just the opposite rather than something that you actually want. It's just chasing what is not my fucking mom, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's where like the demon lover inside of a woman can appear, and he's just as patriarchal. It's just more attractive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, it's
sure.
like,
wow.
So, and it lets you know like the horror side, you know,
Yeah.
but at the same time, like that's still not like your spiritual like soul kind of thing. So I think like basically the end of her dying is, it's kind of, you know, if this were like a dream, that would be where the transformation actually took place, is when she actually dies in the world of this even being her, not her life, you know.
Oh wow.
Like she didn't choose any of this at all, and like these people are all just like, you know, following something that's not her own like soul, full,
authentic
you know,
expression.
passion or whatever. So that was like her ego death, whatever, like that was her death in order to actually transform into something more realistic.
So this is bringing up like another way to frame it, besides, you know, like integrating sexual instinct or whatever, is and you hit on it just a bunch of times in everything you just said, is well, I call it the, you know, in the gut sky, right? The gut is the overarching principles and rules of everything in all of existence. You know, it's 1 versus 8, right? So 1 is perfection, and like it's like, I mean, the literal numbers, you know, are expressing this thing of like there aren't, generally speaking, straight lines in nature. So like that 1 is representing the impossible principle of perfection, you know, in hardened form or whatever, eternal and so on. And then 8 is integrated into the, you know, the nature and cycles and death and so on. And so
the
like
infinite cycles,
the infinite cycles, and it's and it's going up and down. So it's even sort of got masculine and feminine, you know what I mean, and so on. And so it's also, one way to say it is just 1 is order, 8 is chaos. Right. And so it's order versus chaos. And then another thing, like I've always said, you know, of course I don't mean it literally, 1s know everything that God knows, 8s know everything that the devil knows. Right. So there's demon lover right there. Also, you know, that kind of idea. And 8 is, well, if you look at the Bhava Chakra stuff, the one that corresponds with type 8 through the overlap of SPSO and 8 is the beasts realm. And then right. So 8 is the type that's just reflexively doing their animal instincts without restraint, generally speaking.
Well, and that's why like her character being 9-wing-1, and a lot of like our culture being more influenced by the 9-wing-1 kind of thing, that like this was literally the order in her psyche, like her mother's control, and the way that she saw the order and structure of her life, being a ballerina and doing this performance to perfection, like that needed to swing into chaos and destruction in order for the cycle to renew itself as something else, because it wasn't gonna work if she continued in that version of order. And that's where I see them constantly going back and forth with it, and we needing both of them like in nature and in of the psyche and stuff like that, because it's like it can't just hang out on one or the other for too long.
It's a common theme in 9-wing-1 writers and movie directors. For example, George Lucas with Star Wars, but also what was it, Game of Thrones, where there's a type 8. And what I'm getting at is 9-wing-1s having a shadow thing about 8. And so like Darth Vader is all bad. He's 100% bad, right? Or whatever.
Right.
And then, and then just so many George Martin, all those different writers that have just a super dark character. Cormac McCarthy does it too. I think he was 911. But it's more subtle with him. But anyway, it's just getting at that whole, the opposition there and why there's so much resistance.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's hard to trust that chaos is a part of the process when you're so attached to what order is like representing in your life.
Well, and also then as it's starting from a 9 core, it's like you're sensitive, when you're 911 in your body to the discomfort, to even slight ripples in the in whatever. And so that's another reason to, you think that that what your body is telling you is right and correct, right? And so you're gonna that's where like tone policing comes from,
right? Yeah, not only right and correct, but something that needs, or something that needs to be corrected.
Yeah.
Right. Like if there's some kind of like invasion or violation or just something that's something not right needs to be corrected.
Yeah.
And then a lot of Nina's expression comes in this like perfect precision in the way that she dances, which is why she's perfectly cast for the White Swan, because it is like something careful and it's precise and it's considered perfect based on these external metrics, where the Black Swan has a very internal, embodied, creative metric of perfection that gets expressed and is seen as magnetic. And that's the thing she doesn't have any active relationship to before the end of the movie.
So also interesting in the context of my overlaps thing with 1 versus 8, where 8 overlaps SPSO, and that's part of what's symbolized there is, inside my personhood, my self-pres container, I have social, which is kind of like life force and sunlight and air, and it's within me, like whereas 1 in a way is external principles, what's the truth,
super ego too.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, you're holding up to some kind of standard,
right? Yeah.
Should we go into her and Lily?
Yes, I was just about
more
to
directly. Okay,
because I was gonna say, with this whole like perfection kind of thing, that like obviously Lily is quite like a sexual shadow, but I was also thinking about even in our with bringing 8 into it as well, that like she is starting to actually embody the Black Swan when she believes that she kills Lily too.
Yeah,
like
totally.
And it's that acceptance of death and like the death of the body and like the blood, the life force, like when that's actually like seen. So like never mind even how that happened or whatever, but just that I thought of that as you were like talking about that whole difference.
I mean, one way to say it is that there's a bunch of different frames you can do with, splitting the 2 sides of the Enneagram. So like that's kind of to your point. 7 is coming off of 8, and chaos, right? And so like 7 almost wants chaos and all the options from dark to light, which would include, death or whatever. I mean, anyway, no.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's more towards the end, but going to her character in general, I will say one thing about just kind of commenting on Aronofsky's social self-presness. The one small critique I have, but I also think it's just like because it's in movie form and you can only do so much within a movie, and whereas like now we're used to TV shows where like everything's just like hyper expanded on. Like I think that but maybe this is a point that like his characters sometimes feel a little flat and like basic to me. I think because he's investing so much into like the fairy tale of it, like the social self-pres message to it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, as compared to like David and I just talked about Dead Ringers, and like that is
totally
a very
opposite.
obvious 7.
Totally
very obvious 7, very obviously 9. They're so nuanced. They have so much development to them. But I feel like you could feel that in the first episode, you know, and that's like the length of the movie, that I feel like in his, and this is kind of going throughout all of his movies, I think he pays a lot of attention to the social message and less on like the actual people, which is kind of funny.
Fleshing out. Okay.
Yeah. So I just noticed that like for a movie with such an interesting social commentary, the characters did feel like a little like kind of just basically like party girl, like that's just like the party girl archetype. And then like
well, depending on what you know, other stuff is going on for a given social self-pres person. I mean, an aspect of social self-pres is, you know, like icons, symbols, archetypes. And like congealed personalities. I mean, that's like I've been saying for a while, social is the personality instinct, and then self-pres is the solidified, like what's the structure, and it's you know, lasting personalities or formidable personalities, which is like archetypes, you know. And,
and he seems to be more focused on like the archetypal arc of the characters in the movie, rather than like the very detailed nuances of the character.
But you could say, I mean, isn't a counter to that, for example, all of that little stuff that tells you so much, that like between Nina and her mother, you know, just all that's hyper personal, you know. For sure. Oh no, it's definitely like
it is very personal, but like the what can I say about it that I'm trying to...
No, I mean, I get it overall.
Like, the human fleshed out characters.
Yes.
Weeded out as much. Yeah.
Right.
They are kind of objectified, all of them, to just be in relationship to each other.
Yeah. The relational dynamics are amazing. And
are
like,
rich.
Are because that's part of the message, right? But the characters themselves standing on their own are the things that aren't as...
Totally.
And objectifying it gets at the, like what I'm talking about with the self-pres piece, right? Self-pres is objects, right? So it's personality objects.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. What did you think about that? The girls' characters, though, Alexandra, did you have a thought with it that you wanted to...
Did you want to talk about
explore?
Nina's fantasy and that whole scene, and, you know, didn't you want to get into that?
What scene are you talking about, David?
I'm talking about
the one scene he remembers in the movie.
I was just gonna say
the one that you keep watching on repeat.
I do love that scene. It's a good scene. It's a great scene. It's great. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I love the idea that she's just seducing Nina away from her mom, you know, and also there is something to say on the social projection of it all too, because like, obviously Lily is the 7 character played by, what's her name? Mila Kunis.
Yeah.
She comes in.
Lilith. Sorry, I just had that thought.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, that's
Lilith.
That's great.
More archetypes.
So to like give the character, to give like the description of the character also. She's this dancer. She's not even from New York City. She comes in from San Francisco. She's late to the first rehearsal. You know what I mean? She has this like very general kind of effortless vibe. She's not trying very hard. There's like the day that she comes in late.
She's flippant.
Thomas, who's the director, you know, sexy one thing, says like, go warm up. And she's like, I'm good. You know, so she's like, she's not doing things as precisely and by the book and like with the diligence that Nina thinks perfection is attained by. And yet by the end, as you proceed in the show, Lily continues to be pointed at by Thomas to say, look, she's imprecise and she's perfect in a way. She's effortless and it's real and she's not faking it. Yes. And she's confident. And there's a thing too, this is what I was going to say about the social projection, because Lily is embodying this like, you know, kind of evil sexual instinct as she's holding it, as Nina's holding it. She projects badness onto Lily.
Yeah.
And creates this whole story around like Lily's trying to sabotage my role. When you look throughout the movie, Lily's actually been nothing but like kind and supportive to her the whole time, the entire time. Even you could say the scene where they're out partying and Lily drugs her drink, that is like some kind of sabotage, but Nina sees the drink being drugged and chooses of her own volition.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Right. And chooses of her own volition to participate. So she's not being sabotaged by any, she's not, you know, Lily's not an evil character at all. She tried to defend her against the director saying, hey, you need to go easy on her. She takes that as more sabotage. So there's a bunch of like repressed sexual Black Swan energy that Nina has that she's putting on Lily falsely in order to what? Kristen, I'm sure you could speak to that better, just to like war with it herself.
Well,
yeah.
One thing I was going to say is like, Lily's, you know, pretty much a 7 in the movie and played by a 7. And, you know, staying in archetype world, like 7 is the, could easily be associated with the trickster, of course. And which takes us to Hermes and, et cetera, Mercury and so forth, which is ultimately a masculine energy archetype. And so that's another it just makes sense in the context of what you all have been saying about leading Nina away from her mother into some kind of alternate masculine something, the beast or the
that's
chaos.
good.
I could also see it as framing it more in like, because the sex scene essentially with her and Lily was not real. Like it was a fantasy of Nina's, and Lily is like kind of, you know, poking fun at her and stuff the next day, but like in a very, you know, gentle way. And what I see that kind of as almost is that like, rather than framing it that like Lily is this kind of projection to, you know, to, how are you framing it? Like seducing her away from her mother or something? Like, yes, but also like framing it like Lily is Nina's like desire to her own body and her own instincts and stuff.
Absolutely.
And like, I agree. And is her attraction towards something away from her mother. Like I'm actually attracted to that. Like I'm attracted to not caring and not having to live up to perfection and ideal and stuff like that. But in like the sexual shadow as well, like say, just pretend, I guess, that like if she's, whether she's self-pres or social dominant, like I would assume she's self-preservation dominant, but let's just use both of those instincts. Your blind spot, it, you know, is going to feel threatening to either of those instincts. So even you framing it like she's thinking that Lily is, she's assuming that Lily is trying to sabotage her role. So it's literally like the sexual instinct, what I'm actually attracted to, like in myself, that this other person is representing and holding for me is going to threaten my my job. It's destructive and dangerous. And like, so I see too, like what's interesting about it being Lily in general, I think it is because like that it's the other side of the feminine, like that you want, you the can't Lilith. Really exactly, like you need to be more in touch with that in your nature in order to kind of like get out of that ideal that
Nina's projection of whatever evil or sabotage onto Lily is also an expression of how deeply Nina is still, you know, possessed by the mother, right? That automatically these defenses come up and reasons not to such and such. You know what I mean?
And I would say too, what's interesting is that like thinking of her, Nina having kind of like the 9-6 stem and then Lily being this like 7, that I think with the 9-6 stem and 9-wing-1 especially, that with any kind of super ego, you're dealing with a lot of guilt. And guilt has a huge impact on your relationship to pleasure. And so you know, if you, especially like the self-indulgence that like a 7 will do is just, or represent in general, it's like that can't be a part of the 9-6 stem, the one, like the perfection thing. Like I cannot experience.
I need to have deserved this.
Yes, because and if I do experience pleasure, I feel guilty because of, you know, whatever fucking like standard higher God that your mother and negative mother complex tells you.
It's partly like 6-9. I think on my Trifix book I said something like justifying taking up space. So pleasure is all the extras of life. So that would be would be taking up space, spilling everywhere. You know what I mean? Right. So you'd be expanding. You can't allow that.
Right. And when she's like striving so hard for like this idea of perfection, there is no pleasure in perfection. Like there's so much discipline and structure, and there's like, in order for there to be like pleasure, there has to be some kind of chaos. Like there has to be something dirty, like something, you know, to put you back into the body, like that 8 that we're talking about, to like slam you back to earth. But that the earthly realm is where you get to experience pleasure. Like that's the benefit of it. So I see Lily too as like that connection to that. And that's why, you know, her, another way that her figure kind of threatens the main character, Nina, like it threatens the ideal of like, well, if I know that if I actually indulge in what I'm attracted to here, that I will be sacrificing the perfection, the ideal of perfection that I have in my mind, because you can't have perfection and pleasure, you know?
And it kind of gets at the attachment thing. I think of it as not literal, what's the word, when you sent, I'm forgetting the word. What's the thing when you, it's the past and you idealize it? It starts
nostalgic.
Nostalgic. So so it's like attachment types have a nostalgia for a parental formative environment that actually didn't exist, right? And so that's a big piece of, you know, well, you're having to Nina's partly dealing with, you know, in her individuation, you know, giving up on that. And that's also, it's the thing of just realizing that your parents in some cases are shit. I mean, and they're not even on they're not even on your side.
Right. You know? Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a good piece to say, because that mom does not want the best for Nina. Like she just doesn't. Nina is just a prop for her to continue living her own life.
Totally.
Something else I was going to say about the whole shadow projection of Nina onto Lily too is that there is an irony in that sort of like evil way that she's projecting. I don't know, that the evil projection that she has on Lily, because it's actually Nina that's transgressing a lot throughout the movie. She steals all those little trinkets from Beth. Remember, she steals all those little things from the prima ballerina. She goes to talk to Thomas, who's the instructor, whatever, the director, that's what he is, to basically seduce him. She does a bad job, but she tries to seduce him into the role rather than like earning it, right? You know, that's like the thing. She's supposed to just like be perfect and earn it. She tries to transgress that way. She's like shitty and rude to Lily kind of like the whole time, while Lily's kind of nothing but nice to her and has extended herself to her the entire time.
Right.
And it's just like a bitch to her the whole time. Ultimately, like hurts her mother, which that was deserved, but whatever. And like ultimately is driven to kill but she's killing this thing that she thinks is like bad and evil as a way to like let it come out in herself. She doesn't realize she's doing that, but that is like ultimately the battle in the dressing room. And in on the scene where she has like her opening night, there's like, she goes out and she dances the White Swan. She does a great job. She goes out for like the second variation or whatever it is. And there is a scene where she's being lifted up by some guy, the dancer guy. That guy. Anyway, she's like spun around and she's looking on the ensemble cast and she sees Lily. She sees Lily's face, fixates on her again, right? Because she has this like weird fixation around Lily as it relates to this embodiment she needs to be developing. And Lily's face, and this happens throughout the movie, where Lily's face or people's faces turn into her own face. Right? Where she's like, and you're seeing yourself. So you're not actually looking at this other person. You're seeing yourself. And anyway, so she sees Lily. Lily's face turns into her own face, and that knocks her off of balance. She runs off stage, she finishes the scene, she runs off stage, she cries, she goes back into the dressing room. And that is the scene where Lily is getting ready to dance the Black Swan. Because at this point in the movie, Lily has been cast as the alternate, which is very triggering for what's her face, for Nina.
Oh, that's right.
That's so perfect.
And it's perfect too, because again, she was cast just effortlessly, without meaning to, without wanting to. She's not interested in it. She's just cast as the alternate.
Not interested in perfection. To get
and
the
yet,
job.
And yet here she is, almost Swan Queen.
Right.
Anyway, so she runs back into the dressing room and Lily is there getting ready. And she taunts Nina by saying, "Oh, it seems like you're a little stressed out. Maybe I should dance the Black Swan for you." And that prompts the fight between the two of them, where she's like, "No, it's my turn." And ultimately, it's my turn. There's something so charged around that set of words. It's my turn. That's her individuation from her mom. That is the sexual integration of her own self. She kills Lily. And then there's the scene where her like eyes go red, so now she's like fully in this like shadow state. She's fully in this embodied kind of sexual instinct. She takes like these like seductive deep breaths and she goes back out and she dances the Black Swan now with this like kind of wild abandon, to the point where throughout the scene now the feathers are coming out. This is the physical embodiment of like, I've done it, I'm the Black Swan now.
Beautiful
fucking movie.
There's a lot there.
Yeah. And then how would you guys interpret what comes after that? Because she dances the Black Swan, everybody fucking loves it, right? She's done it. She ends up going and kissing Tama. Tama's all horny for her now a little bit. Which, good for you. You did it. You're not this like frigid little girl.
Your dream came true, Alexandra.
Your dream came true. Yeah, you seduced the seducer. Anyway, and then she goes back into the dressing room to become the White Swan again. And this is when she realizes, while she's changing back into the White Swan, she gets a knock on the door. And that's when Lily is at the door. And she's, again, so nice, so supportive. She's like, "You did an amazing job, blah, blah, blah." And Nina's still being a bitch to her for some reason. I guess she's also freaked out because she thinks she killed her. And like, "What are you doing at the door?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be dead in my bathroom." Anyway, closes the door, realizes she has not killed Lily. What the fuck happened? How do you guys, what's your take on that like scene? What happened there? I guess this is what her realization that she's just been battling with herself the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing with like Aronofsky and social self-pres. Like there's a very dreamlike quality where you're not quite sure what's reality and what isn't, because everything feels real, even the things that aren't, and blah blah blah. That I think, with the combination of realizing that Lily's alive and even just like the death, I mean, I think it's like so like it's such a thing for social self-pres movies to like, did they really die at the end? Right? it's like such an obvious, like it's a metaphor, it's not like a literal. We're in the realm of metaphor now.
She realizes she killed herself.
That it's like and with the faces all being her face, like I think it is that like, in the social realm, like we are, there is projection. There is like you're fighting with someone, but it's not actually someone. It's a part of yourself you're projecting into a person. Like I think that's quite a common thing for him and just social self-pres types to have in movies.
One thing that you could say is that I might say is intuitively correct. Like if you look at it from the context of that was kind of crazy, so to speak, that she imagined, that she had that full imagining that she killed Lily enough to be shocked. And well, one of the aspects of the sexual instinct that I associate with it is, well, craziness, right? Like, you drive me crazy, baby. You know, just those kinds of things. And like I associate the metal mercury with sexual, and the where we get the term Mad Hatter is from, they used mercury in the hat making process, and it did make them crazy. It affects your brain and stuff. So so there's something there that, I mean, and just makes intuitive sense that that the sexual instinct, I mean, part of what it is, you know, maybe at a archetypal elemental level, is simply life force, you know, fire that is not directed, you know, it's not directed anywhere, right? I mean, it can be directed, and it gets directed through the personality and so forth, but just looking at it as a raw element,
as its own distilled energy.
So meaning it can go anywhere and into nonsense, irrationality.
That's because I was gonna say, if you think about it, the sex scene and the death scene were both imagined. They're in the realm of the imaginary. They're in the realm of the illogical.
Cool.
So like those things are still incredibly real to her, but they are not in reality.
Tangible reality.
They're not tangible.
So this whole thing's making me think of a progression, you know, coming from 9 going 8 and 7. Like 8 is embodying the instincts, knowing I'm a beast. 7, like with my overlaps thing, is self-pres blind, right? So, and that partly symbolizes that 7, well, like self-pres is real, like this is here, right? And 7 is fantasy, right? It's like, and it doesn't care about whether it's real, whether it could be real or not, right? So there's that sort of progression, you could say, maybe that first requires. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, or it could even just be 9 in between 8 and 1. That 9 is the illogical, the imaginary, because it's withdrawn and like technically like a body last in the body center. That it is like in a different realm that's not actually in the body.
I mean, I've got a whole, I think I sent it to you. If you're not remembering, because you know. No.
What? Shots for catching strays for no reason.
I'm expecting perfection from you. I think I did a write-up on 9. So 7 is just easy. It's obvious 7 is the trickster, right? But actually 9 is sort of doubly a trickster, because 9 doesn't know that it's a trickster. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Good. It's like, it's confusing.
That really well.
It doesn't, it's, disconnected from, part of it is just like in the one angle is the Riso thing of the scrambling of the centers, where 9 is decoupling from the gut. And so what comes into the vacuum is an equal share of head and heart, and you know, there's a certain craziness there, because I don't know, maybe you could say not in a good way, they're integrated, and so they don't know what's going on with either one, you know, with feelings or thoughts, and so things get tangled up, and you know, it's part of why 9s freeze, you know, when you, whatever, in all kinds of contexts, right? Is because the gut is my existence, my presence, my, the fact of me, I am, right? And so we're typically decoupled from that, and in this swirl of, just morphing, always becoming and not being or something.
I also see, because with, the 9 being the double kind of trickstery energy, because they don't even realize that they're a trickster. It's like they're tricking themselves just as much. And especially
that's right.
Like in her character, like the thing with the faces showing up, her face being in other people's face, like it's always at a time where she is has a malicious intent. And it's that whole like and even just you describing how she was basically kind of like a bad person, like, tricking people, stealing their stuff, blah, blah, blah. But she completely disowns that any of those things were her choice, that any of those things were her actual intention. And it's that thing that is notorious of 9, of just disowning their actual choices and their autonomy and their intentions and their desires. And so, of course, that's going to be cut off and like merged into the people around you. Like the people around you are going to be the ones that you feel are manipulating your life and pushing you here and making you do that and doing this to you and stuff. And like that's where you're confronting yourself in that,
totally.
in those
like when 9s get angry, it's often you made me angry, right?
Yes, exactly. And that in perfection, when you're holding on to this idea of where I'm kind of overlapping innocence and perfection, because she's obsessed with these things. And it's like, so that would, to actually own the Black Swan and to own the negative qualities of yourself, to own the shadow, you would have to admit that you are not innocent and that you have been, doing these things intentionally, whether unconscious or not. Right. And that like, it's that you make mistakes and that it's messy and that there's like a part of you that you don't know, it can't live up to the ideal, the perfection,
which is
like
part of just being a separate animal. You know what I mean? Like that's part of the 1-8 contrast is 8 represents the individual animal being a mess, having its own needs, self-interest and so forth. And 1 is doing the rules for everybody and all the animals.
That's good. Yeah, to add on to the 8 piece too, there's the appetite level of it as well, right? Lust is found in the body in 8, and this is like another thing that Nina doesn't own. But she's been transgressive, and like that's something she has to accept about herself, but also that she wanted to, that she enjoyed doing those things. She liked taking drugs. She liked fucking those guys in the bathroom. She liked stealing this like stuff. She liked doing what she was doing. But then it doesn't have to be this like secret thing, right? Remember when horror is written on the bathroom? That's like on the bathroom mirror. That is like, what is she? That's what she is afraid of, because she kind of wants to be that. Right? Like she kind of feels like she needs to be.
And of course it's an extreme though, right? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be horror, right?
No, of course not. That's just dramatically.
But my point is that that's an indicator that it's shadow. Is when you have to make it all bad.
Right. And it's total judgment. It's total self-judgment.
And as much as she hates her mom, like all of this innocence and perfection and stuff like that is basically like she's still her mother's child, like in her eyes. To own the shadow, to own this like, whatever whore as a symbol, like that kind of thing, would to be admit that, like you were saying, David, like you're your own animal, like you're not, you have your own messy needs and appetites and whatever that have nothing to do with being merged with your parents and with your mom.
There you go.
And as much as I think even her, like the projection onto her mom and how angry she gets is because it is like being angry at the fact that you're even infantilizing yourself, by staying with her. And so it's like she's the one that's fucking all this up for you when you're the one willingly staying, like that.
And if you think about like the animal world, separating from the parents is, basically all animals have that thing where they, they're not continuing the relationship, generally speaking, with the parent.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
and
true.
a lot of animals don't even realize that they're siblings or that they're parents or that they're whatever, like, because they just be completely independent going about their lives. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
All
right, let me check my notes. What else do I have?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we covered mother's unlived life, sexual individuation, anger. Oh, also like prey versus predator. I wrote that down too because that's a sexual kind of dynamic. Like, she's constant, and that's the thing with 9. I think like she's constantly putting herself in the prey archetype. That it's like everyone's out to get me and they're fucking things up for me and they're attacking me and I'm the victim. Whereas like, to be the predator, to like you were saying, Alexandra, to seduce the seducer in a way, like to be the predator.
Right.
To be the predator is good. Yeah.
I need to jump in before you say something.
Go ahead.
Your next note. So what, with this theme that's developed, 9 going towards 8, the other, like her mother is a 2, right? Or represents that energy, right? And so 9, 1, 2, you see, so she took the opposite, and that's it just has she went down the other side of the Enneagram, so to speak.
That's good.
As a counter. As a counter process. Anyway.
I did write down mirrors / reflection was one of my notes. I don't know what I was going with that. I think because there's just a lot of mirrors in the.
There's a lot of mirrors. Well, it's also it's like, because what does a mirror do? You expect a mirror to be reflecting yourself accurately, right? And to reflecting what you see
and you
of
judge
yourself
too in the mirror.
And there's so many times where she's looking in the mirror and the mirror is just not doing what she's doing.
Yes,
it's having its own life.
Well,
and
it's also mirrors interesting
where she kills. Well, just really quick, and even the ending scene where she kills Lily, she kills her with a mirror. Like she breaks the mirror and kills her with a mirror. Yeah,
it's interesting then in the context of 2, 3, 4 image, right? Is mirrors, right? And self images and so forth. And so the other side, like part of what is self-conscious, let's say, about especially like 3 or 4 types 3 and 4, is that there's a quality of them. It's as if they're looking in the mirror at or looking through one eyeball, being abstract here, is looking through a camera that's 10 feet away at everything you're doing, just wondering how it looks. And so you're self-conscious and stilted in your actions. Whereas that 8, 9, 8, 7, thing would be just do it, don't judge, don't look.
That's good.
I think with the mirrors, she's just being reflected back in a way she doesn't want to. It's right. It's more warring with herself. It's more just like, oh fuck, I'm this evil like thing, right? There's the one scene where she's clipping her nails in the bathroom, and then she looks up in the mirror, and the mirror image of herself like goes and like clips her nail down really fast, and she thinks she's bleeding, like it hurts her. And she thinks she's bleeding. She runs her hand under the thing and realizes like no damage has been done. Actually, I might be mixing up 2 scenes there, but there's something around there. She is no longer seeing herself in the way that she has been seeing herself the entire time, and it's like troubling her.
It's causing like neuroses to be split as I think she's with this chase to perfection and not seeing yourself as like strong and chaotic and whatever, like really disowning that, and instead seeing yourself as like fragile and innocent and sensitive and stuff like that, and like powerless and whatever. Like it causes such a split like in the psyche, and she's now confronting that splitting going on, and that is so neurotic. I just, even with the sexy 9 guy, I also I see that as a
sexy
appealing sexy 1 guy, that like appealing to a tyrant. Like he was very tyrannical. I didn't like his character. I found him incredibly annoying and unattractive.
I was like, I'm down. I was like, I'll be your dancer.
I would not. I'm like, God, this fucking guy is so annoying. Like, I don't know. So I saw him a
He
bit
is annoying.
tyrannical, like,
Yeah,
and just
he definitely
kind
is.
of like,
No, for sure.
yeah, totally. So, I mean, it's more, yeah, it kind of just seemed like almost,
well, it's
yeah, I
a
don't
way
know.
to go to another parent.
Yeah, totally.
Yes,
That's
yes,
what it is.
yeah,
It's
it's
appealing
like,
to another
yeah.
external. Mm-hmm.
That's what I was gonna say. Like something with the mom's history, it kind of reminded me of like, is this just another thing? Like we don't even see the father like at all, and yet she like quit dancing to become a mom, but like the father's never mentioned or seen or whatever, and so it's like that kind of thing that trope that you think of just like women falling for these guys that don't actually care about having a life with them or anything, and they're left with like a kid.
That's the deal with the two of you relative to me.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What?
I don't know. Just say yes. Just sure. I don't listen
this
to
is a tyranny. Just say yes.
I just say, sure, David. Yeah. Whatever he says. But back to the teacher guy. Yeah, I think you're right that she just moves from her mom to him as like another parental figure. And then also that's why it doesn't work. Yeah, that's why she's not successful in her seduction of him until she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna, murder someone, murder myself, murder the part of me that like I clearly want out in order to actualize this desire that I have. Right. But yeah, that's why her seduction doesn't work. And there's so many scenes in the movie where she's in dance rehearsals. There's this one scene in particular where she has to do the one dance with her dance partner and a ton of times. And each time he's just like, nope, again, nope, again, nope, again, until she stops and is like, do you have any notes or anything? Like she's trying to find the external metric she needs to meet in order to satisfy him. And he's looking for her to just be magnetic at all. Like it's not about any kind of precision. And because she doesn't know how to do that within herself, she doesn't know how to satisfy him, which is also giving her this complex, which is also enhancing the projection she has on Lily's ability to affect him.
It's also symbolic.
She's like, oh, he must just be seducing him.
Also symbolic of the sexual instinct in the sense of just having your own self-signatures, self-aesthetic for how you would do the dance.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. She's trying to live up to his. Like, it's
there you go.
And his is this very particular way of doing it. And you are not doing it. And so it's like she's never actually in touch with her own sense of like anything, because it's just she's flooded with the impressions of everyone else. Yeah.
And you see it right down to the end of that scene, because at the end of that scene, the director sends the other dancer away and is like, we're just going to practice. And then it ends up being this scene where I believe Nina thinks that the right thing to do is give in to the seduction that he's, because he's dancing with her and then he basically like makes moves on her. And I think she thinks that the right way to appeal to him is to surrender to him, when that actually turns him off even more, because he's like, I'm seducing you. You're supposed to be seducing me. This is like, and then just like leaves her horny and alone. brutal, which is why, she gets her licks back at the end when she like seduces him and like kisses him, and he's just kind of left there horny and smiling. Yeah, there's something that's coming up too is around him as well. Is there are so
this is
the director.
Who's him?
Is about the director. Yeah. The director and his relationship to the previous ballerina, because she also Nina also idealizes her as this like, oh, she has achieved perfection. She has won him. He's captivated by her. She has like won dad. How do I do that?
Yeah. There you go. Right. There you go.
Right. That's and the way that she sees that is because they had a nickname between the two of them where he called the other girl, Beth, where he called her my little princess.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a couple of times.
Very father-daughter.
Very mother-daughter. And I remember at the scene, father, whatever it is, parent-child. It's very creepy. Groom. It's very just like not adult and sexy and whatever, and not two equally like sexually embodied people relating. But she sees it as just like, oh, it's sweet, and that's like the ideal. And I would love to be called little princess.
It keeps me in the innocent role.
Exactly. It keeps me in the innocent role. Yeah. And there's a scene where she's at dinner with Lily, and she tells him that, and Lily is just like, ew, that's just like such a disgusting thing to say, right? She has this immediate repulsion towards that as a person that is like sexually sovereign. Right. And so then we get all the way to the end of the movie. And doesn't he, I might be making this up, but I think all the way to the end of the movie, she like achieves her orgasm or whatever. And he says, he calls her my little princess.
He does. Yeah. At the very end, while she's laying there on like the bed dying, basically.
Yeah. Yes.
Not the bed, but like the mattress that she falls onto.
Yeah. When she jumps off the cliff.
That's what made that, actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, because that is what did it for me, where it's like, oh, this part of her psyche needs to die, because to be laying on your like deathbed and to be called a little princess, and then for her to be like, I've reached perfection, it's like, yeah, that shit needs to fucking die. Like that is
so good. That's so good.
Like, no, like that is not her. Like that is like, you know, like that is a child's tale. You know, that is
one thing too, on the the progression, like 9, 8, 7, like 6, you know, like in the Gurdjieff original stuff, you know, at points 3 and 6, those are major breaks, you know, like a whole new reality. And so it's kind of like that, you know, the death. And 6, there's something about 6 energy that is inviting slaughter, you know, is I mean, at least for me. But you know what I'm saying? There's a that, I mean, it's got that well, it's like that, you know, that soldiers and policemen and military, you know what I mean? That whole thing is like for a cause and a greater something, I will go forth and, you know, and and then like if 6 is the death, that break, then now she is kind of in the underworld of that 5-4 space and which is a kind of who knows what non-reality and craziness unto itself, but it's it's otherworldly. It's you know, symbolically you could say, since they're both withdrawn, that they're withdrawn from the world, right? So it's another world or something. And 5 makes the map, their own map, right, of existence.
Yes,
yeah, that's good.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's a journey to her own underworld too, right?
Yes,
her own.
It's like Hades, Persephone,
personal hell. Yes, totally. Yeah, it is. It is that.
Yeah,
it's
I almost
the maiden
see it
journey
as,
too.
Yeah, I would see it as that, like the maiden journey. Yeah, where it's like an innocent journey. You're just like frolicking through the flowers. Everything's fine. Everything's great. And then all of a sudden, like, nope, you just fall into the pit of the underworld.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay,
welcome to hell.
That's why a lot of the fantasies.
Flowers here, bitch.
That's why a lot of the female, like, erotic fantasies are, you know, the male is, you know, a vampire or a werewolf or
some kind of demon,
some kind of something. Yeah, that's, or even like a doctor who's a surgeon, right? And that kind of thing. It's sort of approaching that whole, just need to integrate, you know, the bad boy into themselves or whatever. The demon lover. The demon lover.
Hang on.
I think it's also just like the integration more of like wild instinct. Like you think of like a vampire or a werewolf or whatever, like it's part animal, like it's part wildness, that it's like trying and this kind of like you were saying, like the beast of the body, like there's a pain that is within the feminine nature that doesn't often get honored, like or recognized within her or anything like that. Like it's completely diminished and disregarded, but it's like incredibly important part of like the nature of the body. And so I think that kind of like intense pain and death, carrying death and like stuff like that is like a part of your individuation is process, to understand that
and it takes a certain form for women, right? There's a certain trajectory. And
I even think of like Medusa and the like kind of death mother kind of stuff you confront as well in the underworld. Like the myth of Inanna is like huge with confronting like the Medusa, the inner Medusa and stuff like that. That's just like huge. So that's kind of even her mother is kind of like Medusa. She's keeping her child in like this crystallized stone of innocence, and she needs to break out of it. She needs to reflect. That's where like the mirror comes from. You can only look at Medusa in a reflection. So it's like, you know, you use reflection in order to actually kill Medusa, in order to have her look at herself and turn herself to.
And then there's the thing with vampires where they aren't reflected in mirrors.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
We're so smart.
Oh, big brain.
Yeah. Big brain.
Good job, David.
Thank you. Thanks, mommies.
And with that.
And cut. Okay, we're good.